Good morning and welcome to the coverage of YCS Rimini 2016. It's the third time in Rimini, second time at the YCS, and the second time, just like last year, that we're starting the season. We're kicking things off in the new year of Yu-Gi-Oh! After a fantastic World Championship with a tournament in beautiful Rimini in Italy. My name is Oliver German. I'm your host for the weekend, and I'm joined here by the ever-capable Luke Withington.
Hey.
I think they changed your job title to official Konami coverage commentator or something by now?
Something like that. I don't know. Konami representative, I think, is the usual
the
line.
Twitch communications manager is his official job title at this point in time. Right. There's going to be an exciting tournament this weekend. We got 894 players. Once again, the Italians showing up that they are always driving to their home events on home soil.
Yeah. Whenever we bring a YCS here, all the Italians always show up.
Yes, definitely. It seems like they are in very good spirits, actually.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of smiling faces during the opening announcements. In case you guys missed it, you can this weekend watch us also on Facebook. We're going to be using Facebook Live segments every now and then on the official Facebook page of Konami Europe, where you guys can have like a look behind the scenes, where we're going to show you some of the things you usually really don't see in the official coverage, and give you that as well on top of all the other things.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. And the 360-degree camera shots that we have floating around on Facebook as well.
Right, yeah.
Those are my favorite new thing.
Things like that. And we're also going to be in the venue talking to players what they think about the event. But speaking of talking to players, we had quite a few chats yesterday.
Yeah, we could go on about all the chats we had yesterday. Lots of different deck profiles and talking to players. We spoke to Lorenzo Romano, who was at the World Championships.
Right.
That was a nice little segment yesterday.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, we're going to show you this during in-between rounds.
Yeah.
But speaking of rounds, our first round feature match brings us last year's winner, Lorenzo Santoni, who ended up victorious. He had one of the most brutal ways to victory. He had to overcome some of the household names in the game. I think he had to kick out some of players that had won a YCS before.
Yeah, I remember the top cut for the kind of the later rounds in the top cut last year were really brutal.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly was, and he ended claiming the title, and he's back this year. Last year, of course, he was playing Necros Clowns.
Yeah, everyone was playing Necros Clowns.
Okay. This year is not as one-sided.
We have quite a diverse meta, actually, at this event.
So what are these guys bringing to the table? His opponent is Danilo Romano, also from Italy.
Yeah.
And we got
Lorenzo with the Pendulum deck. I'm not going to detail Pendulum decks anymore because there is just kind of put all the best Pendulum cards from all the different Pendulum engines, and then it makes a good deck.
That's fair enough.
Yep, and then he's playing against XE Monarchs.
All right. What do you think? Who's going to be the favorite in this matchup?
Well, I always like the Pendulum deck.
We've seen that at the European Championship, in fact.
I said right at the start of the tournament, I said either Pendulum's going to win or my second bet was Cosmo.
Well, okay, then let's put you on the spot right here. What's going to win this weekend? That's what you get for running your mouth.
Yeah, okay, so let's go with Pendulum.
Pendulum again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of these Blue Eyes White Dragon duelists is gonna he's gonna say, okay, won the World Championship, so it's gonna be good this weekend, even though
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
So here you guys have it. You can write it down, Blue Eyes White Dragon and Pendulum. All right, guys. We're not going to waste any more time. The main event is already underway. We're a little bit behind, which makes it all the more exciting because it means there's less of a break in between rounds. With that, guys, let's take you to the table where these guys are ready to get their game on, and then we're going to have our round one feature match for YCS Rimini 2016.
So we see Lorenzo on the left and Danilo on the right.
Hard for these commentators if there's so much shuffling going on, bridging all those little gaps while the match is underway.
Yeah, there was a lot of shuffling. I mean, for anyone who enjoys seeing pile shuffling, it was.
It was a demonstration of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it just gave us plenty of time to talk about the really in-depth strategies that came along with the World Championship list.
Right.
With it being such a unique event because of that fact that they're playing in a one-off format where no one's ever seen it before. No one's ever going to see it again.
That's true. That not just that. It's also the entire way that the tournament is structured with just 20-something players and 5 rounds.
34 players in total between the Dragon Duel and the, the main event. So 22
plus
and 12.
Yeah, all right. That's fair enough. We don't want to miss out on the Dragon Duel list, of course.
Yeah.
All right, so looking at the deck list, Lorenzo is not playing any trap cards. He's only running lots of monsters, of course, Pendulum monsters, and a couple of spell cards.
No one really plays trap cards anymore.
So
kind of fallen out of favor. Obviously, Danilo is playing the Prime Monarch, but I don't really see it too much as a real trap card. It's kind of a revivable token of sorts. Not really a trap card.
Right.
However, it is useful sometimes. So these decks are kind of really interesting in a way, but they're exactly what we would expect to see from these decks after the addition of those cards to the card pool from Berlin.
Well, but speaking of that, do you think that it's fair to run 3 copies of Pot of Desires? Because I've had a lot of players say, I would only run 2. Sometimes people are like, I think the card is too risky, I'm not going to play any.
Yeah, so that's a big topic. You played down quite a big topic there.
Oh my.
Pot of Desires is a very big topic in the TCG at the moment.
Feel free to correct me anytime I'm going to downplaying anything this weekend.
Yeah, Pot of Desires is kind of really huge at the moment. Everyone's saying, oh, my deck doesn't support Pot of Desires very well. And then some people are saying, well, you should be playing a deck that does support Pot of Desires because you get to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, and it used to be a really good thing.
Yeah, drawing 2 cards. It says draw 2 cards on it. Yeah. That's always a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So, I think the way that people are seeing Pot of Desires at the moment is if you play a lot of one-offs in your deck that you rely on, then you don't really want to be playing Pot of Desires.
Right.
But if it's very combo orientated,
it's an interesting card because in a way it adds consistency because you draw 2, and at the same time it reduces the consistency because you could get rid of some of your key cards.
Really key cards.
So it's like you said, it's a very interesting card. We should not downplay it in any way.
Yeah. It's really kind of I would say a meta-defining card. It's not necessarily creating a deck or removing a deck or anything like that. It's just that it's so different to what we've ever seen before.
All right.
In the game of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay, so on the right-hand side, in case you're not familiar with our setup, you can see the cards in hand for Danilo Roma. He is, by the way, not playing Pot of Desires, just to clarify.
Nope, I don't think that's possible in Monarchs.
Yeah,
play a lot of cards that you really don't want to banish.
We also got the opening hand for Lorenzo, who is not starting. Danilo is the first to go.
Yeah, so Danilo's hand looks, you could have happily seen that at the European Championships. However, the difference is in his deck is he's playing Gofu, which allows him to play Ultimate Solkin. So, yeah.
So on paper, it's actually Solkin
Yeah,
Monarchs.
it should be Solkin Monarchs. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Exium Monarchs, Solkin Monarchs, Extra Deck Monarchs.
Yeah, when you only have the deck list for like 2 minutes in your hand and you have to quickly tell the guys, hey, by the way, this is our feature match, sometimes you miss an important card.
Yeah, but anyway, we see it now, so that's that's a big change from what we saw in Berlin to what we see now. Ultimaya is much easier to summon because of Gofu. Gofu is just a really easily summonable level 5 monster. So that's the big change for Monarchs.
So the way I see it, it doesn't look like there's going to be any responses for Lorenzo on his first turn.
No, there's nothing going on
Nothing
for him.
going
He's
on.
just going to let Danilo set up here. We're seeing that Pantheism. That's going to be going down to 1 very shortly.
That is another big topic of the weekend, of course. The new Forbidden and Limited list.
Yeah, huge topic.
So many opinions, as always, but it seems like the majority has been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah,
from what I gathered so far.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait because it's really changed the meta to allow that space in the meta for new decks that are coming up. So Metal Foes or maybe even the Cyber Angels that we saw yesterday.
Will we see these decks again in the future? Not really, because Monkey Board is going to be gone.
I think Pendulum is still kind of viable, but more maybe Metal Foe strategies. Monarchs, not so much. I mean, the main card well, 3 of their main cards are all limited now.
Right. Although I've heard some players say I'm still going to be playing Monarchs.
Yeah.
I think it's just a thing. They would have been saying the same thing 8 years ago. So
Yeah.
they are just sticking with what they know.
Yeah.
They're like, Monarchs, that's my team.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what went down all those, like what got limited all those years ago that made people not able to play Monarchs anymore.
Let them fall out of love with Monarchs.
Yeah, I think it was it Cyberdragon that went down?
No, but because you still play there in Monarchs, you get a free special summon. And
Yeah, now, but I'm saying like back then it was definitely limited at some point.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cyberdragon.
No, yes, at some point.
Like back then it got limited. I think it was that as well as like Malicious went down because people were playing Perfect Circle Monarchs.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so it's the second time round that Monarchs have had to have a little bit of love on the Forbidden Limited list.
All right, so
to
here,
just keep
here we see Kuras into the field.
Yep. So Danilo here is just setting up, getting ether to hand, putting return on his field, drawing as many cards as he can to try and maybe be able to find escalation or more Stormforce or anything like that, to just craft his hand into something that he's going to be able to respond to anything that we see from Lorenzo.
How important is it for this deck to kick things off, to go first?
I think at the moment it's important for all the decks to go first.
Okay.
It's you can build your deck to go second, but it's reasonably important to go first.
Well, I was entering some of the deck lists in our app, and then I came across a burn player. I think burn players, they actually want to have the 6th card, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. If you're playing burn, you want to go second.
They might want to be the
one guy.
Yeah, the odd exception to this rule.
This is the thing, Ollie. You're right. There's sometimes there's a chance that you can take. So let me try and think. Who was it who said this to me? It was Matthew Carmelo at the World Championships. He was playing Monarchs.
Right.
And he said, "I've built my deck in such a way that I want to go second every game."
Interesting.
And it's it's one of those things where if everyone, it's not really.
Of course, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, my next question is, how did he do?
He got to the top 4.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. I'm gonna eat my words right then.
So yeah, he walked home with a prize card and a trophy. So yeah,
he did much better than me then.
Yeah, he did better than me. I didn't win any games.
All right.
Yeah. So.
All right. So Lorenzo's first turn. He gets rid of the back row. That's good, of course. And then we got Sky Iris. Some of the pendulum action, really.
Yeah.
We see Magispector Unicorn Kirin in his hand.
Yeah,
now
that's
this
the big
is
one.
exactly. It's a very big and important card. Some of the players said it doesn't really make much of a difference if it goes down to 1 or if it's 3 copies per deck.
Because it's so easily accessible.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so what do you think about that?
That's a common argument. I think that...
Are there super rare arguments?
Huh?
Are there super rare arguments?
Yeah, there's some pretty super rare arguments. Oh dear. Yeah, so it's one of those things where, yes, putting it to 1, even though it's searchable, because as we see right now, Bunbuku is able to go and search 1 if he really wants. I don't think he's playing very many Magispectors. He's only playing the Raccoon and the Unicorn, so he's probably going to go get the Unicorn right now since it's his only target. But yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing because if you manage to strike the Pendulum summon of the 1 Kirin or negate it somehow, then it's going to get put in the graveyard, not in the extra deck. So it's not going to be able to come back all the time.
So it does play a role.
Yeah, it does play a role because if you're summoning only having 1 Kirin on the field is obviously
it's different from having 3 Kirin on the field.
Yeah, it's like
you're getting so philosophical all of a sudden.
A third as powerful. But basically, yeah, that's the idea is that if you deal with that 1, if you manage to, let's say, banish it somehow, then it's not coming back.
No, it's a fair point that you're making.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm not respecting it.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference.
All right, so how is Lorenzo fighting back? Here we got his scale set up, basically.
Yep, so I think I'm just waiting to see when Danilo decides that he wants to play Ether.
What is the best point in time, in your opinion?
In all honesty, I think he's not in a great spot. He doesn't have too much. He doesn't have too much to do here. Like it's not. He's not. Let's say. Got a Twin Twisters to be able to deal with the Pendulum Scales or anything like that. He's going to be able to play Ether. At most, he's going to maybe get another Cuirass on the board and take out the Pendulum Scales that way. But do you really want to be giving your opponent 2 cards from Cuirass? I don't think so. It's not necessarily something you want to do.
Not a good position to be in.
No, I think he didn't really have too much to go on from his opening hand. He kind of got a little bit set up, but it seemed like the draws that he got off of the Cuirass that he summoned wasn't that good. But I mean, Ether obviously
still early in the game.
Yeah,
so
it's early. It's too early to tell, really. I mean,
there we go.
So yeah, he's going to target the low scale because it's
there are few of them in the deck, or it's harder to find low scale.
Yeah, it's harder to find the low scales.
This is, I guess, one of those many reasons why it's so important to test a lot prior to these events.
Yeah.
So things like that, the intrinsicies of those decks, how they are working exactly. Because if it's the first time you're in this matchup and you're like, should I get rid of both? Yeah. Should I just get rid of one?
Yeah.
And it makes all the difference, of course.
Yeah.
One card. Yeah.
I mean,
one card can make all the difference.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, either way, he couldn't kill the unicorn because of Sky Iris, so he had to go for the unicorn. They're both unicorns. He had to go for Kieran. So,
everything's a unicorn.
Yeah, everything's a unicorn.
Right.
I think if we were playing back in Necros format, we'd have Unicorn as well.
So Lorenzo added another Bunbuku to his hand, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, good shout. He's going to be able to... he had...
And that
he had
comes out.
Well, he had the second Kieran that he naturally drew. So this is what I'm talking about. So in this situation, you would have only had one Kieran.
Yeah.
So...
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a big.
So we actually see it right there.
We see it.
What we claimed before. Yeah. Sometimes we make really good points. It seems.
Yeah, I know. So here's a huge pendulum summon. That's basically all of his cards, right?
So that is pretty much it. I think the app is a little bit behind on the right hand side of the screen, but just in just a second, it's going to be up to date again.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that Danilo could have done differently?
I think with the hand he had, he set up as well as he could.
He made the most of his chances.
Yeah, I mean, he made the most of what he had. I think that's kind of how Monarchs set up in a way.
Right.
That's just what you got to do.
So Umutserin, for example, who was celebrating with some friends. I think somebody had a birthday or something, or maybe they were just celebrating the fact that they were back in Rimini. Paul Cooper, actually, who came here from the US.
Oh, yeah. I saw him actually earlier.
Oh, okay. I didn't yet, but I'm going to be sure that I'm going to come across him at some point because he's always very cheerful and in a very good mood when you see him here. And Umut said that yesterday, before he went to the beach in the evening, he decided on his deck, and he knew he wouldn't have that much sleep. And that is why he picked Domain Monarchs. So would you agree that it's a deck that is somewhat easy to play?
It's got a lot of set combos that you do. You have a very clear.
Sorry to interrupt you right there, but that is game one.
Yeah,
I think we should not underestimate that. Danilo, even though I think on paper he had still some life points, but I guess he saw no way out of this.
Well,
or maybe it was even enough. In the end, it doesn't really matter. Lorenzo Santoni, last year's winner, in his first turn, wins the first game.
Yeah,
that's definitely the way to go for him.
Yeah, I mean, he had the perfect pendulum skills.
Oh, by the way, and last year he went undefeated on day one. He went 8-0 on day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually looked
to remember,
over some of the interviews we did last year again. And he was, of course, very happy after his victory. And he was 8-0 after the first day and pretty certain he would lock up a top 32 spot.
Yeah. I mean, if you go XO day one, generally
there's not much that can
confident.
happen. Yeah,
you only need like one more game, right, in day two.
It depends on how many players there are, but I think if you're 8-0,
if there's 11 rounds, and
then you're still definitely in. I think, but he won even more in game two, of course.
Yeah.
So it's not like he dropped the ball at some point.
No. But it's better to have more wins.
Want to have more breathing room. Although, of course, there's the curse of Anubis. This is something that the players refer to very often and happily. The player who goes undefeated in Swiss ends up getting kicked out in the top 32 more often than not in the first knockout round. And our scorekeeper looked this up for me, Tommy, did a little bit more research on the matter, And in the last few events, like almost every time, out of the top 8 players, 6 or 7 of them are getting eliminated in the first knockout round.
Wow.
So what you want to do is you want to sneak in to the top 32.
Sneak in.
You want to be 32nd player to enter.
Yeah.
And then you've had your 2 losses for the entire weekend already at some point in the tournament. So the statistics say that if everybody goes X2...
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah, there's a lower chance that you're going to lose in the top 32.
Yeah. You already had your games where you had a bad hand.
Exactly.
So you're not going to have a bad hand in the top cut.
It's how it works. Statistics is going to prove you wrong if you think you're going to go undefeated.
That's quite fun.
All right, let's have a quick look at the side decks, of course. We do have a Monarch player with a side deck that can make, not just a side deck, an extra deck and a side deck, and that can make all the difference here.
Huge difference. He's got 5 cards that I immediately can see that we would go straight in, which is Typhoons and Twin Twisters.
All right.
He's playing the full 3 copies of Typhoon. He has a main decked copy of Twin Twister, so he's going to probably go up to the...
He's going to max out on them.
Yeah.
He's also got 3 copies of Max C. Still talking about Danilo, Romano, in case you're not following. Yeah. And he's got Majesty's Fiend. How good is it in this particular matchup?
Not that great. Vanity's Fiend's much better in this matchup, I think, because Majesty's Fiend's okay, but it's not like...
It's too vulnerable, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of... It doesn't stop them just outright pendulum summoning an Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon and just hitting it.
Right.
So, that's obviously, you'd have something to say if you were playing, I don't know, like Escalation or something.
Right.
But, again, you can't, it's not like you can play Stormforth Ether when you've got Majesty's Fiend because you can't activate the effect. On
the other side of the table, of course, we've got Lorenzo Santoni, who just won the first game in convincing fashion, if you just tuned in. Yeah, last year's winner. He's got 2 Kaikus.
No.
Actually, not that bad,
not too bad in this match.
Yeah.
No, Monarchs,
interesting choice, because you don't see that often. But
well, it's good in Pendulum because you can just add it onto your Pendulum Summon, and it's like when people were playing Spell Canceller, you could just add it onto your Pendulum Summon, and it'd be a real problem.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing with the pendulum mechanic. You can just add on monsters that have those continuous effects. Obviously, the fiends have the restriction of not being able to special summon, so those are out of the case. But things like Jinzo, Spell Canceller, you don't see Jinzo very often because no one plays traps anymore. But Spell Canceller being the main one there.
Suddenly it's a thing.
Yeah, same with Kaiku or even...
So here you see those 2 players, they drew into their opening hands and they're turning their heads to the side because they're waiting for our helpful volunteers to enter the cards in our app. And this is how they suddenly pop up on the right side of the screen for you guys. We already got the opening hand for Danilo Romano. He's going to go first. Like you said, everybody wants to go first in this current environment.
Yep.
Except for the 1 burn player in the field.
Yeah, except for that one guy.
Yeah, I'm going to have my eyes set on him and see if he's going to do well.
Yeah.
And then, do we have any interesting side deck choices for Lorenzo here? I mean,
Kaiku, Secret Village is pretty cool. Like, if he manages to pull off Secret Village, that's really nice because it just... Monarchs need to play spell cards. Well, it's not just a one-off when he's playing 3 copies of Terraforming. You're able to just search it. I think the thing with Terraforming is recently there's been a lot of really great field spells that have been coming out.
That serve like a second purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time when a field spell said all spellcasters get 200 attack, and that was it.
That was good.
Good. At the time, it was good.
Gaia Power was amazing.
Yeah, or something like all attack position light monsters get 500 attack.
Yeah.
That was a really big deal back in the days.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they need to have a few more effects to be viable. And Secret Village of the Spellcasters, of course, is such a card.
Okay, so Danilo actually has let Lorenzo go first.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Again, I think there's no reason to not do it.
No, I mean, it's not like he... I always like to check to see if he's got a hand where he couldn't play anything, but Danilo could play stuff there. But instead, he passes. So Lorenzo opens Abductor.
No, he did not pass, I think.
Yeah, I think he let him go first.
Because Lorenzo, only has 5 cards, Only. That's going to change in just a second.
Yeah, well, he's got a Magical Abductor. Magical Abductor is a big deal. So for every 3 spell cards that you activate, you get to go and search for a Pendulum monster from your deck.
Yeah, the important part there is that the Pendulum cards also count as spell cards. So when he plays the monkey board, that's the first counter, basically.
Yeah, and he has to go and search his deck for another Pendulum monster. Yeah, Abductor's great. Even on the field, Abductor is really strong. Just because, it's kind of... reasonable advantage.
do we
I was interested. I was really interested as to whether he would do this. Yeah, so he's playing MST on his own monkey board.
That's a -1.
That's a -1, but he's investing into being able to build the scales here.
Trigger the magical abductor and build the scales.
This is the correct scales. He has 8 and 3. That's a wide range of scales.
Now he's activating the effect of the abductor, like you said.
Generally, if you resolve abductor in turn 1, that's like a big deal.
Right.
I think the fact that he had to MST his own monkey board, that's
how popular is the card? Like
Abductor?
Yeah,
everyone's playing Abductor
because it seemed like I haven't seen it that often in our feature matches so far.
Yeah, I think everyone's playing it nowadays.
Or I guess we have seen it quite often, but we rarely see it resolved that quickly.
Yeah, yeah. This is the thing. It's kind of, you build your deck nowadays so that Abductor is, you have to resolve Abductor.
Right.
Because it's, just gives you that extra card. I mean, at this point, obviously it's a minus, but he's going to be able to go search with Bunboku. He's going to be able to go search with Abductor. What did he get with Abductor? We've not got our app updated yet, but we'll see. I'm sure it will be... oh, no, we did see. We saw it was Pendulum Sorcerer, right? Yeah, he went to get Pendulum Sorcerer, which is which is fantastic, again, because he's... Basically, Lorenzo is investing in next turn as well now. He's going to be able to go and search things like Skullcrabat Joker with his Sorcerer Summon here. And
Monarchs don't tend to OTK you.
No, generally they're quite a slow rolling deck.
Right.
Especially, well, they can OTK you if you have like one monster. They can Stormfall with a monster and then attack for lots, but
very likely he's gonna see that second turn, I mean, especially with that field.
Yeah, and he's got Kirin.
Yeah.
So, it's so that's a, I mean, great choice here. He decides to just destroy the Abductor because that's kind of useless now. I mean, he's got Pendulum Dragon as well, so
that's a lot.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of stuff for next turn. And that's a lot on his first turn. I mean,
and the other thing is that we've seen last year already, Lorenzo is pretty quick when it comes to performing his moves.
Yeah.
He seems to be really confident in his deck choice and knows exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He's got what it takes to win a tournament like this. I mean, of course we've seen that last year, but even if he hadn't won, you would see it here. He's one of those players.
Yeah. Just something to note, that is my favorite rarity of MST.
Just of course it is.
It's a dual terminal, of course.
Yeah, it's the woman in you that likes to bling.
Yeah.
Right. Do you agree with Danilo's choice having Lorenzo go first? And I guess that's a loaded question at this point.
In hindsight.
Yeah, in hindsight, no. But
no, I don't really want to be facing down Kirin plus 2 Pendulum Scales in hand and a loaded extra deck.
But all right, fair enough. Fair enough. But even if you just let's just assume
pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you would still go first.
You would still go first, right?
Because
then
you would want to be able to have Twin Twisters set, but like he's playing Typhoon as well. It's not like he's not playing Typhoon. So Typhoon is there.
He's got a couple of answers. Yeah.
Yeah. But you've got to get lucky to, you're only playing 3 Typhoon, and you've got to naturally draw it in 5 cards.
Let me continue with my little questionnaire.
Yeah.
On a scale from 1 to 10, and we're not talking about pendulum scales. We're not talking about pendulum scales, of course. How good is the opening of Lorenzo here?
I don't like this. I don't
like
I know.
1 to
10 scale.
You just don't like to be put on the spot.
I know. Okay, let's go with...
there is no comfortable doing coverage this weekend. There's going to be live action communication the whole time.
Yeah, okay. Let's go with... I'm going to go with 7.
With a 7.
Okay, but now you're going to ask me what would have made it a 10.
Exactly.
Okay, so if he had Apex Avian on the field as well, set strike or something, that would kind of bump it up to around 9. And if he also had a set Imperial Order, that would be a 10.
I think that would actually be an 11. I'm pretty certain that the set Imperial Order would be an 11.
Yeah, it would be.
But let's not argue about that.
Yeah, but that would have stopped all his plays right now.
Yeah, I wonder why he's not playing the card.
I don't know. I would. Okay,
all right, so great opening for Lorenzo Santoni.
Yeah.
And okay, my next question: what does Danilo have to do to get out of this situation?
Okay, so firstly, he needs to deal with that Kirin somehow. He needs to deal with the Kirin somehow, and he needs to also start drawing some cards. Actually, okay, so he has to. Okay. He's got Twin Twister. That's one of the key parts of my solution to this puzzle that Lorenzo has performed here. He needs to get rid of the Kirin. He needs to make sure that next turn he's got the ability to summon Ether Kuraz to be able to interrupt any other plays that Lorenzo's able to make. Lorenzo does have Skullcrobat Joker and Eccentric, which means Eccentric is able to take away the Twin Twister straight away. But that's okay because he's already got the unicorn that he needs. He does need this unicorn in the Pendulum scale.
It's not the unicorn he deserves, but it's the unicorn he needs.
Yeah, exactly. So he needs to have Ether in hand, ready for next turn. And if he manages to resolve Erebus this turn while Stormforthing Kirin, that would be great as well.
Right. So there are ways out.
Yeah, it's a big ask.
I was just about to say it's a lot.
Yeah.
It needs to be a lot that he needs to have here.
So he's got a nice hand.
He's getting there.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Yeah. The only issue is obviously this Kirin is probably gonna just get triggered the moment the Eidos appears.
Right.
It would have been his ideal play here would have had. Oh no. Okay. So he's gonna go search for Domain. Domain is gonna reduce the level of Erebus. Then he's going to Stormforth, take the Kirin away, play the Erebus. Erebus to maybe take away one of the hand cards would be preferable, or if he wants to guarantee a good bit of advantage here, he can take away the Unicorn. Kind of...
both are fair choices?
Yeah, both are fair choices, yeah. So that's Kirin dealt with.
All right,
that's step one.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Erebus is going to dump the Prime Monarch and something else. Well, it's kind of up to you what else you want to dump here.
Right.
I guess maybe like a Tenacity or even Pantheism. Oh, yeah, of course, Pantheism's at 3. Yeah, you'd put Pantheism.
It still is. It still is, yeah.
Yeah, it's... Okay, so Pantheism is an obvious choice.
You're rubbing it in here.
Yeah.
Those poor Monarch players.
Okay, what did he get? Like
so we got Skullcrobat Joker and Eccentric were in the hand.
Yeah. What did he hit?
I think...
This decided a game at the World Championships.
Skullcrobat Joker is gone.
Erebus hit a Soul Charge in someone's hand, completely decided the game. It was, I think it was like top 8 or something as well.
Yeah. It's not that surprising though.
No. Well, the Erebus is a really strong card.
But those are, of course, the moments we live for.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
we're commentating.
Yeah. People always say to me though, they always go, "Oh, that was so sacky," and it's like, but he built his deck to do this.
Yeah.
The point is that
there's a reason why it happened.
Yeah.
It's not like just he won the lottery. He first had to fill out the slip. Yeah,
exactly.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, I use that analogy all the time. Actually, you have to to win a competition, you have to enter first.
Yeah. It's fair. It's a fair point.
Yeah,
hard to argue.
Yeah. So he's got it. He doesn't have Ether in hand. So that's my only takeaway.
And Lorenzo doesn't know that he doesn't have Ether in hand.
But that's the key part.
Yeah. So he might try and play around the card even though it's not there.
No, I think he's got it here. He's got this because what did he draw?
Kaiku.
Okay, yes. Yeah, this is fine. He can deal with the scales. Kaiku's gonna be mildly problematic at best.
At best.
Yeah, mildly problematic at best.
Somebody put a Photoshop of Kaiku and then it says mildly problematic on his forehead or something.
Mildly problematic.
Yeah, I've heard other descriptions for this card. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah. So I mean, Lorenzo here is thinking, okay, how do I win this game without? No, that sentence is silly. He's got to think to himself, because he doesn't know he's got Twin Twisters.
Right.
Is the big thing.
Okay. There's a big difference in thinking how do I not lose this game and how do I win this game.
Yeah.
In which path is he walking right now?
No, he's in the not lose
category
right now because he's struggling.
Right. He's not go big or go home. He's like, no, I have to hang in there.
Yeah. Well, there's very few cards that you would set in Monarchs other than side deck cards and Escalation.
Right.
Escalation, not a huge deal right now.
Yep.
But it being like Twin Twisters, Typhoon, Cosmic Cyclone even, is a big deal.
Right.
So, yeah. It's Lorenzo's not in a great spot. I can't play this up here.
So, do you want to go back on your initial rating of his opening turn?
No, that was a great opening turn.
It was a 7.
It was a great opening
turn. It was a 7.
Yeah, it's just... Monarch Stormforce is a really good card.
Right. Danilo had a perfect answer.
Yeah.
One of those answers that's going to be a lot harder to find in the future when Monarchs get hit.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, going to change the entire metagame, because with Monarchs disappearing to some degree, I heard that Blue Eyes White Dragon is going to be a bigger choice than before.
Blue Eyes White Dragon is very good.
Or, as I'm going to call it this weekend, Drago Bian Bianco Occhi Blu.
Okay. Is that the Italian?
That is the Italian name of the card.
Italiano.
I think it's not Occhi, it's Oki. Oki.
Oki?
Yeah, there's a CH.
We should confirm with one of our
I
Italian
did
viewers.
actually,
Oh, you
but
did?
I just
It's
forgot
Oki?
about it again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so used to it. So when you have
Ochi.
double C and then an I, it's chi.
Yeah, yeah.
And
same.
if you have double C and then an H, like CH,
Yeah.
at the end, then it's Oki.
Oki. Okay.
Drago Bianco Oki
Yeah,
Blue.
so he's going to flip. Like, this is exactly what I saw happening in my mind. The eccentric gets played, and then
Taking out the twin twisters.
Yeah.
You did say that indeed, yes.
Yeah.
So that is good for Lorenzo.
Yeah. It's as expected. And I mean, the thing is, Danilo here decided against using the twin twisters. That's interesting. The reason that's interesting is because Lorenzo could have done that the other way around. He could have played eccentric
First before Kaiku?
Yeah, taken the back row and pretended that the other card was a good scale. Because if it was, Danilo loses.
Right.
So it was one of those situations of you got to, really decide your plays. But at the same time, he didn't want him to play the Prime Monarch.
Yeah.
So it was what
There are reasons for
had a
both
choice.
lines of plays.
Yeah, exactly. There was a reason for both of those lines of
Yeah.
plays. And I guess
We did have that. For me, it was striking to see that when Marcello Barberi did commentary, Rob was asking him, "Do you agree with the choice of the player?" And he said, "I would have done it this way. However," and then he pointed out there are very good reasons for the way that the player played, and I think that's the best kind of feedback you can get, especially as somebody who's watching the stream, because like on the one hand you get an additional opinion, which is good, and on the other you learn about the reasons why this could have been a really good choice, or why there are solid choices.
Yeah. So, I mean,
so it's fair. It's
it was
not
fair
a bad
both ways.
move. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like on the one hand, he still doesn't know he doesn't have ether. He didn't know that he had ether.
How hard is it to interpret what your opponent is having? Like, how can you read his bluffs, basically?
Sorry, what was the question?
How hard is it to read your opponent to make sense of what he's still holding on to?
It's really tough. So it's especially when the thing with Monarchs is generally the way that the plays go is you have ether all the time.
Right.
So well, that's the way that people see it anyway.
So it must be really demotivating to play against Monarchs when you're like, oh, he's got the answer. Like the whole time you're just like,
Well, you're constantly playing your turn in fear of it being interrupted.
Yeah. That's really odd.
Yeah, but I guess it was the same.
It's one of the best
Cosmo
hand traps in a way.
Yeah.
When you compare it to like a Maxi or an Effect Veiler.
I liked the quotes that the
Yeah,
guys at home didn't see.
Yeah,
there was
didn't see it.
huge quotes that Ollie used with his fingers to
hand
speak, traps.
I speak with my fingers sometimes.
Yeah, hand traps. Yeah, so I mean, double Erebus.
All right. So what are you gonna pick here? You get the Prime Monarch. And still
gonna give him tenacity.
Yeah. Still going.
Yeah, I think it gives him tenacity because he's.
He doesn't want to have more of the Prime Monarchs in the graveyard for some reason.
No, I think it was just that he's only got one card in hand, so he doesn't think that he's going to be able to resolve tenacity. But in reality, he does have Kuras. So, yeah, it's kind of one of those situations where it's a little unfortunate. But it's at this point, Lorenzo has to take risks. He has to start taking these kind of risks.
So now we're moving away from the play to not lose towards the play to win.
Yeah,
part, where you're taking those risks.
Yeah, he's gone past the point of.
I have to be really careful, otherwise I lose. He needs to take risks.
Take the risks to
otherwise
try and
he loses.
Gain advantage. Yeah.
Very important change of pace that you have to be aware of. Really, I've seen a lot of players who were like too careful when they were playing.
Yeah, and then you can just lose.
Exactly. There is a point where you do have to take those risks.
Yeah, it's very strange when that happens.
Yeah. So you would agree with Lorenzo's line of plays that
he's got to just play so risky now. So it gives him tenacity in the hopes that he doesn't have anything to resolve it with. Just but I guess at the same time he's kind of. I wouldn't say disrespecting him, but like Danilo wouldn't have searched tenacity if he didn't have something.
Well, but that could have been a bluff.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of.
So we're back to mind games.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all fun and mind games.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So Danilo assembling a field.
Yeah, he's got the double Prime Monarch out now, so he's going to be able to start Exceed summoning.
Yeah, what Monarchs are known for, of course.
Yeah.
Now, what's going to be his choice here?
yeah, some like I was gonna say Volcasaurus or Pleiades.
Something that does a lot of damage.
Yeah, just to do some damage. Is he? I don't know if he's playing Gaia Charger. I don't think so, but it doesn't matter here. I think he's.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he playing Gaia Charger? I think this is Gaia Charger.
The Drago Gaia il Destrivero dele, and then handwriting.
Yeah, no, I think he probably is.
Yeah, we really need an Italian translator for our coverage this weekend with those deck lists.
Yeah, so
but that is it.
So Danilo here takes the second game with just an overwhelming amount of Erebus effects. Like overwhelming.
Absolutely.
That opening board from Lorenzo was really good.
But yeah, Danilo did have the right answers.
Yeah.
And he put Lorenzo in a spot where there was nothing that he could do, really. So 1-1.
Yeah.
Both of these guys have won a game.
Yeah.
And of course, we got the big question, as always, who's going to be the favorite going into the final game? Is it going to be the momentum that is with Danilo now that he's won the second game?
Yeah, well, I think that a key thing to remember is that Lorenzo didn't get to go first in the first game, and he
did go first in the second.
He did go first in the second game, and it's kind of one of those weird situations where Lorenzo wants to be going first, but the game that he won
was the
game he went second.
Right. So you think that's going to interfere with his game plan a bit?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, he's a really great player, so he's going to be able to deal with this here. But it's one of those kind of weird situations where you think, I shouldn't have won that game. I should have won the first game.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I should have won that game. I shouldn't have won the first game.
And it's also interesting to see that many of those great players, as you just called him, with a reason, are big fans of the original anime. With I think that's a Dark Magician shirt that he's wearing.
Yeah, I think it's got Dark Magician on it.
Super popular with the best players that we see in our feature match very often.
Yeah. Yeah, they like the Dark Magician. Yeah, I like the Dark Magician.
I do like him too. There's going to be an archetype with him.
Oh yeah, no, it's out now. Now that the Dark Illusion is here, we've got the Dark Magician archetype.
He's going to come back.
Yeah.
It's going to be back like the old days. It's going to be Blue Eyes White Dragon versus Dark Magician, right?
I mean, Yugi at the World Championships showed us exactly what you could do with Dark Magicians when he was playing against Kaiba.
Yes. Yeah, that was one of the funnest duels of the entire weekend.
Yeah, I was.
Did you talk to the guys?
A little bit. I got to speak to them a little bit. Yeah.
What are they like?
Not too much. It's kind of like obviously they're absolutely awesome because 12-year-old me was like so excited.
Right. Did you? Okay, so you're standing in front of the voice actors that are voicing Kaiba and Yugi, right? Those were the two.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've never seen the English anime.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
For me, it's completely different.
Dubs.
Yeah, people are always like, "Oh, yeah, this is the voice of Kaiba," and I'm like, okay, good to know, because I had no idea. I know the German voice, of course, but that's different.
Yeah.
So when you talk to the guy, do you imagine Kaiba's face on his head, or do you see his face? It's a mix of both.
It's kind of weird. Okay, it's kind of strange because
I don't want to end up with you having disturbing memories. Like just so you know.
No. Like the thing is, both of the guys look really awesome. Like they're kind of cool. Like look cool. You know, when you think like there's someone who looks cool.
Yeah.
Like we've got guys around the office like that.
I get that feeling every morning when I look in the mirror.
Oh, nice. Great. Oh, tech team are laughing at you right now. Yeah, they're just thinking what's going on.
You gotta write signs now.
Yeah.
Like, boo, boo.
Boo, yeah. Okay, so the thing with those guys, I got to talk to them for a very, very short amount of time. But the strange thing is that when they talk, they kind of sound like they because obviously they have voice actors.
It doesn't completely disappear from their voices.
Yeah, it's kind of. I think Kaiba sounds more like Eric Stewart sounds more like Kaiba does in his natural voice, whereas Dan Green sounds more like Yami Yugi.
Oh, okay.
Rather than the small Yugi.
Right. So he has to make a conscious effort to sound like a little boy.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it is very strange. Like some of the words they say, it just kind of you can feel the
you can feel the Kaiba-ness coming through.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but they were really amazing guys, really great to meet, and I got to see the live duel in person. It was amazing. Okay. To say the least.
So Lorenzo Santoni is kicking things off in the final game of our first round.
That abductor.
Yeah, I've seen that card before.
Here it is.
He's missing the monkey board though.
Well, let's see his Pot of Desires.
10 cards.
Yeah.
banished face down. So almost no way to get them back. Certainly not in this particular deck.
Nope, but he gets to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, so we have no way of knowing what those 10 cards were.
Yeah.
But like you said, Pendulum is one of those decks that really doesn't mind it all that
well,
much.
there's a few cards that you really don't want to be banishing. For example, you have a lot of low and high scales, but you don't really want to be, getting rid of all of one.
Do you agree? I mean, this is just a small thing, but do you agree with him not looking at the cards that he banished? Because
I'm surprised he didn't.
yeah, because he is allowed to look at them, of course.
Yes, he is.
It's his pile of cards. It's not like they are not public knowledge. I mean, they are not public knowledge. The opponent cannot see them, but he can see them. Because I would want to know what's left in my deck, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. Same, like, right now, he may not be able to resolve Sky Iris, for example.
Right.
I know
Unlikely.
Very unlikely, but yeah, it's one of those things.
Okay, there's a second Sky
Well,
Iris.
so he's gonna. I mean, the chance. Actually, it's impossible for him not to be able to resolve Magical Abductor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible. You can't banish 10 pendulums straight off the bat. I am quite surprised that he didn't look though.
Yes.
That's a huge hit. So there's the Typhoon. That's exactly what he wanted last time.
Wow.
So that's the. He's already gone -1 because of the Sky Iris as
Right,
well.
right.
Activating the second.
The
Sky
second
Iris
Sky Iris, yeah.
over the first one. But at this point he got the +1 from Pop Desires, so he still might be able to play through this. Let's see if he's able to. What else has he got in hand? Oh, that's unfortunate. He's got an Apex Avian. That's actually he is going to be able to summon it. If that's right. So he can play Pendulum Dragon and the Odd Eyes Unicorn, and then just special summon Avian. He will be able to get the Light Phoenix as well because of the pendulum scales lining up here. So this could have gone much worse for him.
Yeah, I was
all
about
honesty.
to say, considering that he's like completely out of cards now,
Yeah,
he's still in the game.
Yeah, the likelihood of these scales matching up is very, kind of slim at this point,
Right.
especially since he's, had to kind of -2 himself to play the Typhoon, to play the Abductor
second,
and then get
yeah.
Typhooned. But yeah, having Apex Avian on the board, I'm surprised he didn't summon the Light Phoenix. I might be missing something here about.
But of
as to
course,
why
don't
he can't.
forget, he built his deck that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And there is the monkey board now.
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah. Well,
I mean,
it's the
not
obvious
surprising.
target
Yeah.
for Pendulum Dragon. So.
But I mean, this is one of those situations that makes it look like the deck without monkey board is so much weaker. You said earlier that it's still viable in the new format, but it's just a lot worse.
Well, so the key part of it here, he has 1 card in hand.
Right.
If after the list, if Danilo here is able to clear his entire board, then he would not be able to have a single card to perform pendulum summons with. There's no single card that you can then turn into 2 pendulum scales.
Right.
Or so easily anyway. Let's put it that way.
And there's, just for a split second, a die on the field. I don't think they're in timeout yet. I still think they have some time.
No, I think the dice was just for Abductor.
But I'm just going to check with our judge, who's going to be able to answer that question for me, even though he's in another room. That's the advantage of technology. Okay, so what is next for Lorenzo? Still not done, even though that Typhoon
No, so I think it was
interfering with his plays.
It was a really quick turn for Danilo. He just set 2 and then passed. So, yeah, because in all honesty, he's got a really tough hand. The Typhoon was the best card in his hand, and he's already played it. So.
All right. So
yeah,
even though Danilo had like a good counter, he didn't really have anything to
follow it up with.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
There was no follow up play. Like if he was able to follow up with Return Erebus or something, that would be crazy, because he would have been able to take away the monkey board from Lorenzo's hand here.
The judge got back to me. We got 2 more minutes until timeout.
Yeah.
So we're close. We're close to it.
Yeah. And the great thing for Lorenzo here is he's got Apex Avian on the field, so that can negate basically anything.
Right, and of course our Twitch chat is also like, why didn't he check the cards?
Yeah,
Maybe he's not aware. Of course, I know that's a slim chance, but you sometimes have players that do not know the exact way the rules are working. I would not expect Lorenzo to be one of them. But yeah, that's a possible reason for that.
Yeah, big pendulum summon here.
So is it now Lorenzo's good draws,
No.
or is it the lack of offense that Danilo could muster up that is the reason for Lorenzo taking control of the game?
Yeah, no, that's it. Lorenzo has the full damage here. Danilo just had nothing.
Right.
The Typhoon was his only card.
Yeah, and there it is. There's the handshake. That is it.
Yeah.
1 minute before timeout, we see Lorenzo Santoni wrapping things up against Danilo Romano. He's again definitely on track to win YCS Rimini back-to-back. We see those two guys filling out the result entry slip. With that, guys, we're going to move in just a second to our post-game discussion.